Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. I wanted to talk a little bit about a subject that came up recently on one of the websites actually that I was I'm a part of in the community. Somebody was getting into a debate about Apple and really about Apple and their integration with an enterprise platform. They're really asking about what IT professionals out there think about Apple and whether or not Apple's going to actually get into that game. And Windows and other companies, so forth. One thing that you really need to remember and you got to think about is that Apple, they've always been poised as a consumer electronics company. It's what they did even early on with Wozniak and Steve Jobs. When you had Bill Gates out there developing a software, Bill Gates was developing a software solution for the big players out there like IBM, HP, etc., etc. He claimed that he had a software solution to actually making their computers work. Well, Steve Jobs and Wozniak, they were busy looking in a completely different direction, although they appear to be similar. They were building their own computer with its own self-sustained operating system that they developed proprietary for their machine. They wanted to take this and they wanted to sell it to people in their individuals, put the computers in their homes. So really Apple hasn't changed much since then. They've really been leading the industry in a lot of ways about putting together consumer electronics and developing and innovating. The iPhone, the iPod, these are innovative things that were really cutting edge and the first of their kind. And they're just going to continue to try to do that. The business enterprise platform, that is already dominated. Windows already has this cornered. So it's theirs to lose, really, at this point, because companies are just going to continue to stay with that platform and upgrade through the progressive operating systems as they go. It's really Windows to lose at this point. So I don't think that Apple even wants to do it. Apple has developed a server, so they actually have a server product out there that does compete technically with Windows Server. You can set it up, you can network a whole bunch of computers. But however, one of the reasons why Windows is so efficient is because it has Active Directory. And Active Directory is just the bread and butter of Windows. It allows the scalability to really not be limited in any form or fashion. You can manage thousands and thousands of computers on a server or on a network with Active Directory, implement a security policy or a protocol or a group, and instantaneously it's carried across and that rule and that protocol is now taken care of. So there's nothing else out there like Active Directory. Nothing currently competes with it. I'm not saying someone might not come up with it. I know there's going to be Linux fanboys all over this, or other people that are going to be talking about, Mac and I'm actually a huge Mac fan. I'm not a Windows fan. I'm just talking about the reality in the world that we live in. Windows dominates the business world, and they're not going to stop dominating it unless they just completely drop the ball. Now, it's not looking good with Windows 7, or I'm sorry, with Windows 8. It doesn't look good. People don't like it. But their Server 2012 is still actually pretty good. So, they're going to be okay there. I think they just need to clean the operating system up for the other host machines a little bit better. Anyways, Apple likes to focus on those products. They do have a server product. They played around with it before. They're really not pushing that product. So I don't think it's a direction that they want to go. So the people out there that are saying that Apple is going to overtake Windows, they can really just put that to bed. Apple doesn't want to overtake Windows. They don't want to play in the business enterprise world, or they would have made a move to do it. They have a server product. Why haven't they tried to implement that server product and really roll it out and create something that competes with Active Directory on a large scalability for system admins? Because they don't want to be their bread and butter on the business enterprise side. They're fine with being the consumer electronics juggernaut. So these are just things you have to think about when you're talking about Apple and you're talking about the direction that they're going. Another thing that you have to think about is really going to be cost. Apple's a very expensive product, and there's no doubt that they build a phenomenal machine that is hands down the utmost quality. But they're expensive. So you're not going to find some CEO go out there and drop a buco bucks to pick up a couple thousand Apple computers and a couple Apple servers to running their enterprise business. It's just not going to happen. Not when you have a really solid platform that already exists in the Windows environment and really cheap and inexpensive Windows machines that people can buy out there. So, Windows just makes software and they leave it up to the other PC and hardware manufacturers to battle it out over putting together the cheapest product that's out there. So they're fairly inexpensive. So you can get a system set up with Windows side very low cost. And again, I know I might get some fanboys out there again that jump on me saying, "Oh well, there are plenty of companies that merit using Mac products," and I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm simply saying that if you're looking at it from a financial standpoint as a business owner, do you want to drop a couple $1,000s per unit to put inside your business, or do you actually want to take a couple $100 per unit to put inside your business? Especially when you look at the scope of what your business does. So when you have entry-level salespeople in administration, why are you going to be giving them a couple $1,000s worth of a machine? They're going to beat it up, they're going to abuse it, they're going to download things they don't need to be downloading on it, and essentially it's going to get ran into the ground. Why would you do that with a $2,000 machine? Just doesn't make the economics don't make sense. Now, if you're talking about a web app development company or an iOS development company, you have to have Macs for an iOS development company, and you may want to have Mac platforms if you're a high-end web development or technology company or graphic design or video or audio type of a production company. You probably do want Macs. Macs are absolutely fantastic, and they're an extremely well-built product. They're just not the right option for business enterprise because the entry-level ticket price is not there. Doesn't make sense. So you got to think about that. Now, the next thing that you really got to think about is, I think, and this is just my opinion, is going to be Google. A long time ago, I had a conversation with a coworker of mine where we were talking about iPhone and how it really had the market cornered and how Google was just starting to get into that. And I told my friend, you know what, you better watch out because Google is a powerhouse technology company. They're not just a search engine that's all of a sudden playing around with some phones. They're the real deal. They take the top people out of MIT every single year. When Apple is buying up, Microsoft is buying up Snapchat, and you get these weird. Facebook is acquiring these chat companies. Google's out there purchasing robotics companies, purchasing companies that are doing some really groundbreaking technology. Not just some web apps out there like Candy Crush. So Google, and this was back then, started to make phones, and I had told my buddy, you better watch out. It's going to be pretty interesting when they decide that they want to make their own computer, and they decide that they're going to make a computer and make an operating system that runs on it. And ironically, they've already done so. They've created Chromebooks, and so now these Chromebooks, they're not quite refined and they're not robust like they should be. But they're a neat little concept. They've got really small SSDs in them. They're extremely fast. They're very lightweight. They're small. They're compact. They're very quick. They are completely reliant upon the cloud. But there's a lot of cloud computing services that Google offers. They offer these Google Docs. They've got Google Drive for your storage. They have the integration because Google purchased YouTube, again, a really big technology asset in a company. So they've got the integration of YouTube, and they have the Google search engine, the Google Docs, they have Gmail. So they really have the integration beginning to form to providing a substantial service to backbone infrastructure for the enterprise platform if you start to think about it. Because they already have email, they already have web, they already have video, they already have all of these aspects really kind of coming into play. Then when you start to think about the cost on these Chromebooks being so inexpensive. They're about $250. I mean, they're cheaper to get a full-blown computer that's a Chromebook than it is to get a cell phone these days. You know, that's a pretty good entry level. And then you can just worry about tacking on any of your other cloud features and services later. And then I know a lot of people are going to say, well, you know, they're not useful. You can't do real work on a Chromebook because you always have to have the internet. Well, really the argument to that is, where are you at that you don't have the internet these days? The internet is truly everywhere that you're plugged into. And again, if we're thinking about this not from a consumer electronics standpoint, from a business enterprise platform, every business enterprise is going to have internet. Or they're going to be sending their people out to places or setting up little sublets and offices that have internet. So that's not going to be an issue at the enterprise level with a Chromebook. The next thing is because it's really giving you, in the IT world, we talk about reliability and redundancy. Well, if you have everything really working off of a cloud, you have reliability and you have redundancy, because you have a computer that if it were to break, if he gets into an accident, drives his lake in a car with his laptop in the car, it's all saved on the Google server, Google's cloud. You get another Chromebook, you log in with your credentials, and voila, you have everything there that you need, and you just move on. If they abuse it, if they beat it up, if you fire them, they decide to disappear, you can shut off the spigot and disconnect their ID and their capabilities, and now they're just running around with a Chromebook that really doesn't have a whole lot of function to it. So this could be a solid alternative to the business enterprise platform. So when you think about it, you know, Google, they're really poised to be making a strong move in this aspect. And I urge everybody to be taking a serious look at some of the things that they're doing, because it's pretty interesting. I mean, they're even getting into the playing around with becoming an ISP, an internet service provider. They're actually wanting to roll out Google Fiber Optics, and you guys can look into this, in a lot of the major metropolitan areas. One of their promos is if you help submit a certain amount of money, that you can actually get free internet for life. Now, it may be only up to like 5 megs, but that's plenty to browse the web, send your emails. You can even technically stream Netflix with 5 megs. So if you help them build this fiber optic platform and you donate to it, you automatically can get free internet for life. So something to think about. If they end up getting an internet service set up in all these major metropolitan areas, and if it's going to be 5 megs free for life for contributing to it, maybe they'll even consider doing that if you buy a Chromebook. Maybe you'll get free internet at the 5 meg level. That's plenty to use Google Docs, to use your Google Gmail, and to use some of the features that are going to be out there. And then if you just pay a small subscription fee with your Google Chromebook, now all of a sudden you have access to a higher data rates, or 50 megasecond, 80 megasecond, whatever they decide to make it. But it's quite interesting. They're doing a lot more groundbreaking things than what Windows is doing, where Windows is only continuing what they've been doing, making operating systems that everybody has problems with. So it's theirs to lose, but not to Apple. Apple's not going to be the juggernaut that swings in and takes the enterprise platform away from Microsoft. It might be Google though, so it should be interesting to see. I'd love to hear your guys' feedback or some of your thoughts on this issue. Let me know, leave me a comment, like it, share it. We'll talk to you guys later. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and some of these thoughts, and see you guys next time.